going to lie, I feel absolutely drained at the moment for two reasons mainly. First of all, this ridiculous heat and humidity, how close it is. I don't know about you, but it's far too hot for me. And it's really draining me at the moment, making it difficult to think straight. Second, because of my football club, for West Ham and David Sullivan, they're draining me of any ambition or hope or optimism for the season ahead. It's been a very difficult transfer window already, and not much has happened. But it doesn't seem to be getting any better. And this latest news has, really drained me, to be honest. And there's been plenty of opinion since the news broke yesterday. And I just thought I'd add mine to the mix. It's not going to be particularly new or inspiring. It's nothing to sort of add in. It's just my thoughts on it, really. So there'll probably not really be much of a structure to this. It's just going to be a bit of a moan and groan. It is a new low for Sullivan, in my opinion, and this football club at the moment. And the last 5 years of transfer windows probably culminating in this moment to where we are now, which is not a good place. But first of all, I just wanted to touch on Mo Kudus, to be honest with you. I know a few people, and Mark spoke about this yesterday, sort of saying that they don't blame Kudus for wanting to go to Spurs, and the fact that there's no loyalty in football anymore. And I get that, and there isn't. We shouldn't expect people to be like Mark Noble anymore, particularly when they come in from different countries. It's not going to happen. So I do get that, but I've got two reasons to sort of have a grumble at Mo Kudus. First of all, he was not good enough last season. I know I've said that plenty of occasions, but I said at one point, I think it was halfway through the season, that in Mo Kudus' mind, it felt like that he was pushing for a move to Liverpool or Arsenal, an £85 million to Arsenal or Liverpool. That's what he wanted in his head. But he was playing like he was going to get a £60 million move. And I think I actually said Newcastle at the time, but Newcastle Spurs, that sort of the sort of next level down from the teams going for the title. And for me, it's just a massively frustrating performance from Mo Kudus last season. And look, he's not solely to blame on that. Obviously, the environment he was in a bad place with Lopetegui. He fell out with him, which he has to take some of the stick for as well. And even under Potter, the whole team underperformed. It was a dreadful season. But Mo Kudus we signed him as a player to be one of the main men for us. And you look at what JARROD Bowen did last season, that they were in the same environment, but Bowen didn't just sort of down tools and, keep his head down and just look like he wants to be anywhere else. He got stuck in, got some big goals for the club and sort of dragged us to, 14th in the league, I think we finished, which was remarkable, really. So Kudus has to take some of the blame for that. And it's caused us to be in the situation we're in now, because had he matched what he did the previous season, which, look, again, different environment, it would have been very difficult to do. But had he at least done, 75% of that, he would have had clubs queuing around the corner for him. And we wouldn't be in a situation where we even need to talk to Spurs, because other clubs like Arsenal's and Liverpool's would be like, okay, we actually need to sign this guy because he's had 2 good Premier League seasons now. He's proven he can do it, even at a club underperforming. So, it's a no-brainer for us. But because he was just so terrible, and he had a couple of good games. I think Liverpool away, funny enough, was one of his better performances. And I'm sure people point out there have been a few good performances last season, but generally he wasn't good enough. I think he scored 4 or 5 Premier League goals, and that was a couple at the end. One on the last game in the dead rubber against Ipswich. He didn't score anywhere near enough, didn't assist enough. And it wasn't a good performance. And now we're in this situation where we are trying to flog him rather than just waiting for clubs to go, we want Kudus because he's had another really good season. So that's my first grumble at Kudus. Second of all, I do think he has to take maybe not some responsibility, but he will have to take accountability for the fact that if he moves to Tottenham, he will get booed, and I hope he does get booed, because Declan Rice gets booed for going to Arsenal. Going to Tottenham is worse, in my opinion. Rice was clearly too good for us at the stage. And we've talked about Rice before, but we got a really good transfer fee at 105 million. And yeah, he went on to Arsenal, who are not as a direct rival as Tottenham are. They're still a rival, I get it, but it's not as bad as Tottenham. So Kudus, in my opinion, should get booed from West Ham fans. If you're going to boo Rice, you boo Kudus. And he's going to have to take some accountability for that, because yes, he's not from East London. He's not born and bred West Ham. But if I was good enough to play football at a professional level, which I unfortunately wasn't, and I signed for, let's say, Real Betis in Spain, I know that their biggest rival Sevilla, and let's say I have a good season at Real Betis and I've got clubs, having interest in me, and Sevilla are one of those clubs. I know that if I go to Sevilla, I'm going to get some stick for it. And I shouldn't really do it, and I would try to avoid it. And look, if Spurs is his only option, then fair enough. But it feels like we're still early in this transfer window, and that there are other options for him, and hopefully will be other options as we go along. And again, this comes on to West Ham as a club, and I'll talk about that in a sec. But it does. If he chooses to go Tottenham, I will be disappointed in Kudus, because yes, there's no loyalty in football. Yes, he's not a born and bred East London boy, and yes, he doesn't support West Ham. But he's been employed by the club for a couple of years and been, celebrated by the fans for most of that. And I think just leaving for our biggest rivals, apart from Millwall, certainly our biggest rivals in the Premier League, I think that leaves a bad taste in my mouth. That's just my opinion. I know plenty of people will say, don't blame him. What does he get going from West Ham to Tottenham? There are plenty of players that go from Arsenal to Chelsea, even the Milan clubs that swap, and it seems to be a bit more accepted abroad. But I don't like it. I just personally don't like it. And if it was me, like I say, in Spain, I would try and avoid going to the biggest rivals. So I just think, hopefully, when you join a club and even spending 2 seasons there, you take on a bit of their club. Like it leaves something with you. I would like to think that West Ham would have imprinted on Kudus, and he would have an affection for the club. He's been there 2 years, day in, day out. Going into the training ground, the club, and you would hope that would leave something on him to not want to go to our biggest rivals. But I know that's probably just not modern day football, and I should probably just accept that. But yeah, he's nowhere near as to blame as the football club and as David Sullivan, who, like I say, has hit a new low for me. First of all, I want to say, why are we so bad at selling footballers? Like, I really don't understand why we just don't have that skill set within the club. I mean, it's obvious. David Sullivan doesn't, and he shouldn't be here, because it's just like, even when we get a player who is worth something, we devalue them. We bring that value down by either not playing them, letting them become a little bit of an outcast or whatever. This isn't in Kudus' case, but we're just so bad, and we never push a player on and then get to a point of a summer window where we go, look, we want to keep this player, and if you want to take him off us, you're going to have to pay good money to get him. We seem to be like, right, we just need to get rid of him, and I don't understand that. The PSR stuff, the cash flow issue, I get all that, but there is other players that we can sell this summer, and you have to be clever with this. You have to go into this window thinking, well, okay, internally we do need to sell players, but we ain't going to show our hand. We're not going to tell the world that we need to sell players, because all that means that clubs are going to go, oh, we'll try and get someone on the cheap for you. And I don't understand why we always have to show our hand. David Sullivan must be a terrible poker player, because he's always just like, well, this is our situation. Let everybody know. Let everyone know in the media, this is our situation. And the other clubs must just think, other clubs must laugh at the way we do business. Just think they're so unprofessional. They just make it easy for other clubs to take our best players. And that seems like what Daniel Levy's doing at Tottenham. He's taken advantage of us. He's looking at it and going, well, if you're going to tell us that you really need to sell, and you've got someone in Mo Kudus who has got a high ceiling, has got high potential, had a brilliant first season in the Premier League, we're going to just lowball you. We're going to get him a much less value than he's probably worth. He is probably, in his best form, he is a 70, 75, 80 million pound player. I'd say closer to the 80 million pounds at least. and we're probably going to sell him for like 55, 60, maybe 65 max. We're just completely devaluing our players. And that is such a big difference when it comes to buying players and how much you've got in your budget. So 15, 20 mil can make a massive difference. So I don't know why we always like it. You know, we had Felipe Anderson, who had a difficult spell at West Ham, but he also had a very good spell at West Ham. And we sold him for like a cup of tea in the end. It's just, I don't know why other clubs can just sell players. You look at Chelsea. Chelsea will have players that don't even put the blue shirt on for them. They're out on loan season after season. And then Chelsea seems to sell them for 40 million quid. And you're like, I've not even heard of the bloke. And they've sold him for 40 million quid. And we have a prized possession. And we're almost trying to flog them like on a boot sale. Like, please take him from us. We don't want him anymore. I don't understand. We should have gone into this window saying, look, we're happy for Kudus to stay. And that, you know, Graham Potter's excited to working with him, and hopefully he has a good summer rest and he comes back and hits the form he does. And that's the line you say. And then, you know, you get interest, because Kudus was always going to have interest this window. Like, no matter how bad he was this season, he was always going to have interest, because it was clear that he wanted to get away from the club. It was clear that there are clubs interested. So that was always going to happen. So we didn't need to push it as much. We didn't need to be like, look, everyone, please bid for Kudus. We could have sat back and been like, look, if you're interested, come to us with an offer and we'll talk. But, you know, we very much want to keep him at the club, and we'll see how he does next season. That's, I believe, the line we should have had. And I get it. Look, it's 1st of July. We've done no transfer business so far. The club want to get on with that, and they want to give McCauley and Potter a budget. But that's why should we feel sorry for that as fans? Like, that's David Sullivan's fault. You had a season like summer last season where you spent 150 million quid, and most of that is useless now. Like, there's only a few promising signs from that in terms of Wan-Bissaka, maybe some of it when he comes back from injury, maybe Guilherme if he improves, but we've wasted a lot of money over these last few windows. That's not West Ham fans' fault. That is the owner's fault. He can't just keep coming out and pleading poverty and asking for sympathy. Because why should we have to trust you as fans? We've seen bad transfer window after bad transfer window. And last summer, yeah, we all got excited with the players coming in. But I said at the time, and I think a lot of people did, it is still a bit of a mismatch of players coming in. It doesn't seem like a theme of player that we're trying to get. And again, we've got two older squads. Our squad is too oldest in the Premier League, and we don't have any pace and physicality. And that was just proven throughout the season. And then we've come into this summer, and it's like, right, we need youth and we need physicality. And it's like we'll almost sell all our assets just to get that. And it's, yeah, we've put ourselves in this awful situation. And I just think it could have been dealt with, obviously, a lot better. You look at clubs that have been the most successful in the Premier League over the last 5-6 years, the likes of City and Liverpool, who I know are in a different stratosphere to us. But the way they do transfer business now, they're very much stubborn. They're very much like, if it doesn't suit us, we won't do it. And if that means we don't sign anyone, fine. If that means we don't sell anyone, fine. We will only do deals if it makes sense for us. And I think that's proven to be very successful. And we need to adopt that a little bit. We need to say, no, this doesn't work for us. We don't want to sell Mo Kudus to Tottenham. We just don't want to do it, so we're not going to do it. And if another club like Newcastle or Chelsea or Arsenal come in for him and they bid what's an acceptable amount, again, you've been stubborn at that and say, we want, let's say, 75 million. You know, clubs might not bid it, but you've got to draw the line somewhere as a football club. You can't keep letting clubs mess you about, which is all we seem to do. We just let clubs mess us about. We sell our players cheaply, and we have ridiculous asking prices for players we want to buy. And it's not stopping. And the way you stop it is you might have some short-term pain in the fact that you say to a club, okay, we want to buy X player from you, and this is the amount we're willing to go to. And they say, well, that's not near our valuation. We go, okay, we walk away from it. And then if a club wants our player, okay, we're open to it, but this is the minimum we'll accept for him. If you're not willing to get to that, okay, we'll keep him then. You have to draw the line somewhere. And one of those lines I think we should draw is not dealing with Tottenham Hotspur. It's, you know, Daniel Levy, of course he wants to lift the transfer embargo, the unofficial transfer embargo that I'm pretty sure he set. Like he does what he wants, and we're just like accepting it. I would say, out of principle, no, you are not having one of our better players for a lower value than he's actually worth. You're just not having it. Because if the shoe was on their foot, if this was the other way round, you can bet your life Daniel Levy would not even be interested in doing business with us. Say we had a good end to the season, we got won the Europa League, and Tottenham had a terrible end season, which they did in the league anyway. And we were like, right, we've got Champions League football next season. We want to buy, Maddison or whoever, Son or whoever. I don't know who's even worth that amount at Tottenham at the moment. And we said, look, we want to buy this player from you. You can bet your life Daniel Levy would just go away, not interested. But we seem to be like, oh, okay, well, we're so desperate to sell, then yeah, just, whatever you want, we'll sell him to you. And obviously it hasn't happened yet. I'm being a bit presumptuous. Hopefully things develop. Hopefully other clubs come to light and it does start a bit of a bidding war. I'm hoping that's the case, because I don't want to see him in a Tottenham shirt next season. And I certainly don't want West Ham to just get messed about by Tottenham. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. Obviously it's going to evoke a lot of discussion, a lot of frustration from fans, but some fans will probably, and I understand the thought process of, just, it doesn't care, don't care who we sell him to, just let him go. We need the money to start buying players. I understand that point of view. I just think we need to draw a line and say, no, we're not accepting a bid from Tottenham unless they go above and beyond. If you want him, Tottenham, all right, 75 million or 80 million. There you go. You have to pay more than anyone else because you're Tottenham and we don't want to do business for you. You've made it hard for us. We were about to sign, I know I'm going a few years back, we were about to sign Adebayor on a transfer deadline day because we needed a striker, desperately needed a striker, and Levy pulled the plug at the last minute. No, I don't want to do it. All right, well, we'll do the same then. Anyway, that's my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts and try not to melt in this ridiculous heat. Have a good one.